Yes, I not it. I mean, I'm not seeing any visuals now.
So now
Even I'm not seeing.
Even me.
No visual. Yeah, no visual.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. The session is live streaming in YouTube. And for those of you who are on YouTube, a warm welcome. I call upon Noor Madam to take over and conduct the program by introducing the speaker, Mr. Kiran, and taking forward the formalities of the program. Welcome, everybody participating in the Zoom platform. And those of you are there in the YouTube. Those of you in the Zoom platform, please remember that this program will be there in the Organic Terrace Gardening channel of YouTube, and you can go back to refer to this channel anytime you have a doubt in what has been shared today. And I'm sure we'll all be greatly enriched by Kiran's presentation today. I request Noor Madam to take over to do the introducing formalities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. Sir, thanks a lot, Dr. Rajesh, for helping us host this session and enabling this learning to happen. Kiran, though very young chronologically, has ancient knowledge as such. So like he says, I'm a computer, and he can recognize any plant, and his knowledge is amazing. If you see the list of plants he has only, I'll keep wondering how does he remember them and how does he remember the names and the varieties of the plants. So the ones like Ritu, Nikhat, and some other people who've been interacting with Kiran, we've already seen his vast treasure of knowledge. So we thought a little bit should be shared with other people. And especially Kiran is setting on a new journey. He'll be migrating to Canada. So we wish you the very best, Kiran, in your new life. But at the same point of time, we thought we can learn a little bit whatever you have learned, so that more people can benefit from your knowledge. So welcome, Kiran, and thanks a lot. I know you're very busy packing up everything and winding up, but thanks a lot for sharing your time with us. We know how precious your time is. So
that's fine.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and welcome to everybody who's online and the people who were pinning me and pushing me to conduct this session. Okay, Kiran, over to you.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, whoever is joining from like Zoom and whoever are watching from YouTube. I'm very happy today to take this class. So basically today's topic, I think we can go directly into the topic. So today's topic is like grafting and air layering. So it seems like it looks very simple topic, but the topic as such is very like vast. I mean, there is no boundary for the subject. Basically, you can like imagine if you have any wound or like any broken bone or something, how orthopedics use methods to joints and bones and joints. We are doing similar thing with plants, and mainly we use this technique for flowering plants and fruit plants. So in fruit plants, again, we have like there is a lot of in-depth knowledge which is required to do this. But most prominently, there is like basic methods which we will be discussing today. So the most basic thing we need for grafting is one, that is rootstock. That is the plant which we will be grafting on. So rootstock can be, generally it can be the native variety of the mother plant, which we use. Like for example, if we are grafting hibiscus, the one which I am doing today. So rootstock can be any jungle hibiscus or desi hibiscus which we generally get. So the above part which we will be using to graft is called as Scion. So the Scion can be of our choice. Like if you are interested to graft any hybrid color or different color, so whatever the mother plant we are getting, so we need to harvest the Scion and remove all the leaves. So basically, what I want to say is I am just brushing up the main important points and the technique. Not like, I mean, this can be followed to most of the fruit. I mean, with most of the fruit plants, for example, like citrus plants, jackfruit, avocados, mango, most of them. But each and every fruit has different kind of, I mean, rootstock requirement and the Scion procurement and season. Basically, in Bangalore, luckily we have very good climate. So almost we can graft 10 months of the year with varied percentage. Like in monsoon, we get a lot of success. In summer, we get like around 30 to 40% success. In winter, we get 80% success. So it varies. But generally, we can have at least some sort of, I mean, successful grafts most of the time. And the harvesting of Scion is again, depending on the variety, is different. So for hibiscus, for example, today, we have to just remove the leaves and it shouldn't have pushed any new shoot. Like it should be mature stem, but it should not have pushed any growth. If you can see in the camera, this is like, I mean, young, yeah. So just about to emerge, but not yet emerged. Yeah, so this is about the Scion procurement. Again, yeah. Okay, so this is again like regarding Scion procurement. So once we have harvested, we have to graft as soon as possible. So this we have kept aside. This is step one. Step one is to get Scions. It can be from our own garden, or if we are getting from someone else's gardens. So that, then what we have to do is we have to harvest the Scions and wrap it in wet tissue paper or something like wet cloth, and keep it in a plastic cover and get it home as soon as possible. That we can do. So the rootstock again can be like any jungly variety, as I said, like in hibiscus. Today I'm showing this red color hibiscus, Desi Nati hibiscus. So this I have taken. So this is like step two, that is rootstock. After this, now main thing, that is the most important thing, is grafting is almost like a surgical process. So we need to have sterile environment and sterile tools. So main thing, main tool for grafting is grafting knife. So again, in grafting knife, we have like a lot of brands and lot of, professional kind of grafting knives and basic ones. Generally, some people who do it in early stages, they do use razors and blades at home. But I would not advise to use any razors or blades, because one, it is not safe. Second, it does not give very clean cut. So professional grafting knife would be good idea. Like even on Amazon, it's available. It will be like one-time investment. But what is new about grafting knife or regular, what is the difference between kitchen knife and grafting knife is, kitchen knife, both the ends are serrated. That means both sides are sharp. In grafting knife, only one end is sharp and other end is not sharp, it is blunt. So when you make the cut, you get nice clean cut on one side. So that is the reason we recommend grafting knife. If possible, it is good investment. So this is the like first one. And again, in grafting, we have like at least 30 to 40 different methods. And some of us like who are doing grafting from long time, we have come up with our own methods, which are easy for us. So there are like other methods in grafting related to that. Vegetative propagation is budding and approach grafting. That I will not be doing today, but budding again, we will have different, kind of knife that again will be in the same grafting knife. This is like 3 knives together. So yeah, this today we will be using this knife. And second thing is, again, this is not mandatory, but this again, I use this because a knife, what happens after using for some time, like around say 10, 20 grafts or maybe 10 grafts, this will slightly become blunt. So again, it will not be that sharp. So I use this kind of stone, which is used to sharpen the knife. So I just sharpen every time like this, once or twice. But again, the key thing is we should not sharpen on the rear side where the knife is blunt. Only on the sharp side where it is already sharp, where we are doing that, we just need to sharpen 2 times. This is carbide stone. So what it does, it just sharpens to the perfection. So this is like optional thing, but again, it is good to have like a tool like that so that we can have good knife. And this is step 3, that is knife. Step 1 is Scion, step 2 is rootstock, 3 is grafting knife. So like we obviously need again, cutters, pruners or secateurs. This again, we need to cut the stem or these things. So this you can assume as 4th step. So next thing is, so we are using tools and a table kind of thing to graft. So, but this is not sterile because we keep it in room temperature and we touch soil and we touch these knives. This will be contaminated. So the process should be sterile. Otherwise, it will not be successful. It will rot or fungal infection happens or something. So to sanitize this, what we can use is the best method would be alcohol. That is isopropyl alcohol, 80% at least, not more than that. Otherwise, it will cause second-degree burn. So 80% alcohol would be fine to just spray and sanitize this. Otherwise, we can use fire, that is to flame like cigarette lighter or something, and sanitize. And then we have to wipe it off with tissue. Otherwise, there will be carbon residual, which will interact with the grafting. And one more thing is, even with this isopropyl alcohol, the alcohol should dry. Only after drying, we can start grafting. Otherwise, it will burn the cambium. So this is like mandatory thing to sterilize. And then like the most important thing is grafting tape. Again, there is like no hardened rule like you have to use some sort of tape. This kind of tape. But generally, plastic which is easy to stretch. For example, see, this is grafting tape which I have. If I start stretching, it just keep on stretches. Like, it goes on like this for long. It will not break easily. It is very elastic. But normal plastic, if you use, like, for example, people use like sellotape or just another plastic wrap or something. What happens is it is not elastic. So it will, hold the moisture, and that moisture will cause the rotting. So better to get something like this. Or what you can do is any LDP cover like Nandini milk packet or something similar to that, where you can stretch the plastic, make strips like this, and that you can use for grafting. So this is an essential part. Like if you see YouTube videos and people use a lot of fancy kind of grafting tapes, those are like quite expensive ones. Like in USA and all, those are like $100 a roll kind of grafting tapes. Here we are using just basic plastic, which is easy to stretch. So this is the important thing. And of course, we can have markers and whiteners to write down what we are doing and what we are grafting on. So this is like basic things about grafting materials which you need to graft. So like coming to the technique, the second part would be like the cut. So the top 3 types of grafting is, one is called as approach graft. This you can see in like nurseries. Most of the fruit plants you get, those are approach grafted ones. That means the mother plant would be a tree, for example, a mango tree. If this is a mango seedling, what they do is they just go take the seedling and tie it to the tree and just make a small damage to this side. That is like a cut. And this would be a tree. Then they make this, they make another cut on the tree side, and this they keep it together and this wrap this. After 1-2 months or 3 months, depending on the species, they cut the mother plant. And then this whole plant comes with the rootstock. So later they will remove this part and it would be an individual tree. That is called as approach grafting because they're approaching the rootstock with mother plant. So that is one thing. Since we don't have such huge mother plants and some species are not compatible, it would not be a great idea for terrace gardeners. I assume most of the people who would be practicing, if at all they want to practice in terrace gardens, would be like rose, hibiscus, and basic fruit plants. Then for the easiest method and almost universal fail-proof method would be cleft graft. That is to make like a V-shaped cut on the rootstock and a pencil type cut on the scion and join them together. So I will show you how to cut, but I have to explain one more thing. That is, if you cut, I had just made a cut. So if you see the this thing bark of this thing scion and my rootstock, both will be same. Yeah. So in this you can see 3 layers, right? One is the outer layer, that is the bark, and inner layer will be like, bone kind of structure. In between there is a layer called as cambium. That is the key layer which we need to match. That is like very small. It's not visible to human eye. Almost it's a microscopic layer. So basically the rootstock will also have cambium layer and the scion will also have cambium layer. We have to just match both of the layers. So without cambium layer contact, there will be no success in the grafting method. So that is the key method. And once I have made a cut like that, it is essential to join the rootstock and the scion together as soon as possible. Otherwise, the moisture starts evaporating. So it starts drying out and the cambium will also dry out. Like I said, when we use isopropyl alcohol to sanitize, if I spray it on cambium, the cambium will burn. And again, that will not be a good idea and it will be failure. So it is essential to follow the steps as much as possible. So I will show how to do one graft. So we have this hibiscus rootstock which has multiple stems and branches of various thickness. So you would be wondering if this thing scion is this thick, like 2-3 mm thickness. The rootstock is thick, very thin here, medium size here, and very thick here. No, basically you can graft on any part depending on your skill level. For basic beginners, it would be a good idea to start with same thickness grafts. That is, the scion same thickness and the rootstock is also of same thickness. So I will be showing the same. So what we need to do is remove first I will sanitize the equipment just to show the demo. It is wet with isopropyl alcohol. And then to dry it off quickly, what I am doing is I'm just wiping off with some dry tissue. So now it is completely sterile. We can remove the side branches which are unwanted and then discard them. So, same thing in the scion part. I have removed all the unwanted thing. So it is almost same, the scion and the rootstock stem thickness. So what you need to make is first I'll show how to cut a scion. You have to be careful with the knife and grafting. Some people cut like this. I don't recommend it because it will be dangerous. So you have to cut it away from you. So it is like this. Okay. So I'll make a cut. this is the cut. Both sides are open. So this is like a slit. So in this rootstock, we make a slit like this. Since this is a hibiscus rootstock and hibiscus scion, it would seem it is very easy to cut. So this is easy, I mean, for terrace gardeners. But if you do this with avocado also, it is easy, and mango, it is easy. But if it is guava or some other species, it would be harder. The rootstock and the scion would be harder. It would need much more skill to cut. Otherwise, it would not match. So after cutting this, see this V-shaped slit is also called as V-graft or cleft graft. So we have clefted this. We have to join this in between and then match the scion and the rootstock. So technically, if you want a guaranteed success, what you have to do is you have to match it almost like there should not be any air gap or something. Like even if you like hold it like this and see sun towards sun, you should not see sunlight passing through. So that means you have done good job. So after this, what you can do is quickly you grab some this thing grafting tape. Yeah. So you take grafting tape and just start from the bottom. That is, you have to hold like this from the bottom. Hold it in like between your index finger and thumb of your left hand. And with right hand, you have to start rolling it from the bottom to top. So after that, just stretch this plastic for some more time and make a knot. See, this is the knot, and just tighten this. So now this is ready. The graft is ready. Now what you can do, like you have two options. One is like there is an example plant which is grafted. And if you can see, I have covered it with this plastic cover thing. This I have made it myself, but you can like use it in this thing, ice candy covers, or you get this from Udinkati shop, Agarbatti shop, you get this kind of covers, or you can make your own. So you have to cover this like this. The scion has to be covered, so the moisture stays inside and it is not dried. For some species, like for example, with this hibiscus, if you don't have cover, what you can do is you take extra piece of grafting tape and you see there is an open end in the top. That is where the moisture is evaporating. So there you can just apply the tape and just roll it and seal the wound. This is almost like covering it with plastic, but this technique will not work on all species. Some species it will work, but I mean including this hibiscus. So if you see, we have like around 4-5 bud knots. From there we can expect growth. So after doing this, we need to keep this in semi-shade, not like completely shade, not completely with high, I mean in full sunlight. You can keep it in like 3 to 4 hours sunlight kind of area, filtered sunlight. Within 15 to 20 days, again, up to 1 month, it can depend. I mean, it varies a lot with species to species. If it is a citrus, it will take around 2 months. So hibiscus will wake up within 20 days generally. Then you can start seeing all the growth around this if it is successful. If it is a failure, if you were not able to do anything properly, or if it was contaminated or something happened, then you will see the graft part would be dead. I mean, it will be dry. So you can I mean, you have to restart again. So this is regarding the cleft graft. So, I mean, in the same method, you can do various things like if you don't have this long scion, or if you have only one scion and you want to make 10 plants, each bud can be grafted separately. So, like for example, I have see this is a lemon plant which I had grafted and it has grown. So I had grafted here only this much. That is the small, that is like almost 2.5 inch scion. Now these are new branches. So like that you can do. Or one more thing is like if it is too small, yeah, you can just take like a small branch and then make like 1 second. Yeah. So you can take a small branch of this, and if you see, there are individual bud nodes. Those also can be extracted like this one. So this 1-inch node can become an individual scion. So in rare cases, like you have very limited scions, then that also can be done with more precise skill. So this is like basic method of grafting, that is cleft grafting. It is very easy. And if you do like around 10 grafts of way, I mean, this can be followed on this thing, bougainvillea, rose, even jasmine can be grafted, but there is no need because it will, you can easily root the cutting. And hibiscus, of course, you can make multi-graft, like if you have one plant, and you can graft like 10 colors on a single plant. So that can be done. If you are using cover, now you see there is some green growth inside. This is a avocado plant, which I had grafted 1.5 months ago. Now I am seeing like green growth. So now this is ready to be unwrapped. So you just need to remove it like this and see all the fresh green growth of avocado. There are like around 4-5 branches. And the same technique I taught, which was like wrapping, I had done that also. So that also works. Now, this tape, which we used in between the scion and the rootstock to secure the wound, has to be removed. We might remove now if you feel the wound is completely healed, or you might keep it like this for another month or so, and then you have to remove the tape. But removing the tape is very important. Otherwise, it will strangulate the plant and the scion will die. Or the plant will be very weak and it will not grow. But in fruit plants especially, like finding rootstock is very important because the rootstock are not compatible in some cases. Like for example, mango, you have hundreds of varieties. You cannot use all the varieties for rootstock purpose. You have to find like jungle varieties which grow very robust and which adapt to all kinds of water requirements and drought and soil conditions. And same thing applies to most of the fruit plants. Like for example, apple plant, you have to use crab apple rootstock. And guava, again, we use like jungle guava. Even rose, for that matter, wherever you get budded and grafted roses, we use rootstock called as dog rose, which does not flower well and it has a ton of thorns, but it is a robust, growing plant. So they use that for rootstock purpose. So that will also ensure like disease resistance also. Like if you are using some random XYZ rootstock and you just graft it, initially it might be successful, but after 6 months or 5 months, it will die, eventually slow death. Or what it will do is it will be like that forever, like dwarfism. So those are like side effects of inappropriate grafts and inappropriate rootstocks. So it is very important to find equilibrium and do very good research on what works on what. But coming back to the basic grafting and basic plants, This, yeah, can be used in all these flowering plants very easily. In that case, no need to worry so deep, because anyhow flowering plants hardly last few years, so that is fine. But fruit plants have to be done with a lot of care. So this is regarding grafting. And next, air layering. So air layering, again, I will not be able to show 100% complete demo, but what I'll do is I'll just touch upon the basics of air layering. Like basically air layering is nothing but rooting a stem. Generally we take cuttings and just with or without hormone, we root it, like we try to sow, keep the cutting in sand or cocoa pit and cover it. We get roots. Some species are very hard to root in that way. So what we are doing is the same rooting technique, but with the help of the mother plant. That is the plant which we want to propagate has its own rooting system and its own food and water supply system. So we are not completely detaching the stem which we need to root or the cutting which we need to root. We just make a small wound or incision kind of thing, and we let the plant to heal itself, and it will form a root system of its own. Like for example, again, even here, the key important is cambium. If you just see the same green thing in between both of those layers is cambium. The cambium will heal, and that is what that is the thing which pushes roots. So we have to be careful with that. So again, air layering is, will not be successful in all the species. Like fruits, for example, guava and this thing, jamun, water apple. These are very good. They do well if you do air layering. Mango is not that successful. You can make air layered plants, but they are slow growing compared to grafts. So in mango, avocado, and jackfruit, these things, you can go for this thing, grafting or budding. Like water apple and these guava species, you can go for air layering. That will be successful. Air layering, again, like there is no restriction of season here in Bangalore. At least you can have very good success from May to October, November. Again, ratio of success will be different depending on the season and how you do. So basic air layering thing is just we need to, like for example, if this is the branch we need to root, like of course the branch thickness will also be like crucial in this case. Some branches we can do like depending on the species, even thumb thickness or even one hand thickness also we can root, but the duration will be more like generally if this is if the stem is this thick, it would take around 1 month to root or 15 days sometimes. But if it is more thick, like guava, which is almost 2 inches thick, it would take 3-4 months easily to root. So what you need to do is, and again, basic things required to do air layering. Again, we need the same grafting knife. We have to sterilize it. We need cocoa peat or soil or some medium for which we are using to root the plant or the cutting. And we can use rooting hormone. That is again optional. You can, like for example, if you are doing hibiscus, rose and other species, lemon, and basic citron, heralicae, all those things, there is no need of using rooting hormone, because these plants are very good at responding air layering techniques. Some species are hard to root. For them, you have to use this thing, rooting hormone, like IA, indole acetic acid, indole butyric acid, NAA, all these things. Like those are available even on Amazon and agriculture stores. We generally use it for rooting purposes on cuttings, rows and other stuff. The same thing can be used.
And give the organic ones also rooting hormones, please.
Yeah, like cinnamon powder, honey, all those things can also work. Basically, cinnamon powder will also work. But if you want more success, you have to use like ready to use in the rooting hormones. So what you can do is like if this is an example branch which will be trying to make, which we are trying to make air layer of. What we need to do is pick the stem It should be healthy as much possible, like without any disease or some pest, obviously, because we want good, plant. So after picking the stem, we need to remove all the excess leaves and side branches which are nearby to the main, air layering area. So this is like a 2-inch area we have secured. We need to make 1-inch kind of wound where it will heal and it will start propagating roots. So with the help of knife, we need to make like a circular cut on both ends. And
Are
now,
you using the same knife?
Yeah, same knife. Same knife. Since I want to keep it simple, so I'm using same knife. But personally, what I do is I use cutting plier so that I will get even cut together. At a time.
Evenly it will cut.
Since it is a knife, it would be slightly hard, but this would be the safest way. Because with cutting plier, if you don't have experience, if you press it too hard, the entire branch will break off. So initially to practice, you can start with the knife. Okay. So you just make 2 cuts, one on the top and one on the bottom side, and then start stripping off the leaf, the bark part. Yeah. So now if you see, like I have removed 1 inch of the bark completely, 360 degrees. There is no bark. This is what we have peeled off. Okay. So this we need to discard. Now we have this thing. Now this is again like a wound which is freshly cut and we have to graft it as soon as possible. Air layer it as soon as possible. So if you have any rooting hormone, either organic or synthetic, you can make a paste of it, or if it is in like paste form, say liquid form, you just apply it with a toothbrush or any brush on the top side. Even you can apply on bottom side, but top side is important because this is where we'll be getting the roots. So after applying the rooting hormone, you need to...
Please mute. Afsha, mute, please. Afsha, mute.
Yeah.
Afsha, please mute.
Yeah, so you can take like, here I'm not using this cocoa peat or anything to show in this demonstration. But if you have like strips of plastic cut previously, like around 6 inches or something, like wider than this, that you have to keep ready. And moist cocoa peat, if you make like small mutti, like just squeeze it and it will be like a lemon size. For this kind of stem, a small size of cocoa peat would be perfect. If you don't have cocoa peat, you can use soil, but cocoa peat would be the ideal medium to do air layering. So you just cover this after applying rooting hormone or without rooting hormone, you cover it like this. Since it is moist cocoa peat, it will stay. And then as soon as it is ready, you have to wrap it. You have to wrap along with the cocoa peat. So something like this. Once you wrap, it will be like almost 2 inches of diameter or 3 inches, depending on how much cocoa peat you are using. If you use too much of cocoa peat, the top branch will be delicate and it will break. So it is important to use only required medium, that is only handful, not too much or too little. And again, it should be like dripping wet. Like if you squeeze, the water has to be dripping. Only then it will be successful. Not like semi-wet cocoa peat. It has to be completely wet. And you wrap a cover like this and tie it in the top with a plastic thread, or you can use zip tags. I personally use zip tags, so it is easy. One zip tag on the top and one zip tag on the bottom. So imagine this is an air layer now. For air layer, there is no specific need. It can be in complete sun. Basically, if you are doing a plant air layering on a plant which is in drum, There is no need to shift the plant to, less sunny location or something. It can stay wherever it is. You have to treat the plant as if it is it is like just another normal plant. No special care is required. Fertilizing, watering, everything should be as normal. After 1.5 months, you will start seeing roots coming out. So once you feel the roots are well and good, then what you can do is you have to cut in the bottom and then remove. So once you remove, the entire this thing will come off. So imagine now this is the old mother plant. So you have to forget about this. So this is your new air layered plant. You will get that air layer with the cover. Inside there will be coco peat, and along with that there will be roots. So you have to take this and transplant it, remove the cover and transplant it with your regular potting mix, and keep it in semi-shade and semi-sunlight. Like 1 or 2 hours sunlight would be good, filtered sunlight. After 15-20 days, that is ready to become an individual plant. So the hardening process is important after harvesting the air layer, because the plant will be in the shock. So 15-20 days, if it is in semi-sunlight area, it is very good. Then the plant is ready, and it can it can be treated like all other plants. So air layering, again, like as I said, not all species will respond. Some will respond and some will root. Some can take up to 1 year to root. So, some plants will root within 15-20 days. Figs especially will root within 15 days. That is the fastest fruit which will root within 15 days. So this is the basic thing with air layering. Like again, how we have several techniques in grafting. We do have a couple of techniques in air layering, but this is more than enough for OTG point of view, because most of the gardeners have these basic plants which they can try right away. So this is regarding air layering. So I think people can ask me if they have any doubts. Basic things I have covered.
Kiran, what about vegetables? Fruits and flowers,
Vegetables,
we know we can
yeah,
graft an air layer.
no, vegetables, basically, for small scale production, grafting is not advised. But in some countries like Israel and all, they do graft, because for example, cucurbits they graft, like watermelon, muskmelon, all these things, because some types of cucurbits have this disease, nematode disease. Like for example, if sautekai or cucumber is disease resistant, what they do is they take the seedling of this cucumber and they graft watermelon on that. So that will become a disease resistant rootstock, and they will still get watermelon. But we don't have such an issue with this thing, vegetables. Not to that extent where we require grafting. That is one. Second, most of the vegetable plants are like annual plants. So even if you graft, you have to do it every year. Of course, for fun, you can definitely do. I have tried grafting, sundakai, with this thing, eggplant on sundakai, and this thing, chilies you can graft, like different colors on same, like capsicum on chili, a tomato on cherry tomato. All those things you can do as an experiment purpose. Some plants will do very good, but only thing is, since those are annual plants, I don't see point in doing so much of effort, but long term, it will not be a successful thing. But for a fun project, it is definitely good thing. And technique will remain same. Like you have to make this thing, wedge in the rootstock. Like if you are using natty tomato and you are grafting some hybrid on that, and you use the scion of the hybrid or the color of tomato, whichever you have chosen, and you have to graft and you have to cover the wound, and it has to be covered with a plastic wrap. But main key difference between fruit plant grafting and vegetable plants grafting would be, those are delicate stemmed and very much filled with cambium. Like entire stem is high in cambium, so they will heal very soon. Like within a week they can heal. but these are woody. Like these are semi-hardened stems. They take time. But again, with vegetables like tomato, as you know, even if you squeeze it hard, it will snap. So you have to be really delicate while, you have to handle them very well to graft. Another vegetable which would be like very good at responding to grafting would be like this thing. Gourd vegetables would be very easy to graft, and this thing tomato and solanum species like chili and other stuff, that would be very easy to graft. Yeah.
Kiran,
Yeah.
if we have to graft a mango plant, so we have to first prepare for a wild mango, like this, we say cartum.
Correct.
So that now when I have cartum mango, I have to plant it. I have to get a plant, and how mature it should be. That
like again, there is no fixed rule on how mature it should be. Main thing is you should have a rootstock which is thick enough to be match your scion. Like if you get the scion which you want to graft, it is around 1 inch or smaller, or like pencil thickness. You have to definitely have a rootstock which is pencil thickness. No, so
The
it would take
size should be the same.
Yeah,
The
size
size-
should be the same. So it would take around 8 months or 6 months to grow from seed if you are growing. Or like if it is too oversized, what you can do, like if you get some ready rootstock which is very thick, you can stump it or cut it into half and you get side shoots from that. Then after some time, that will become like pencil thickness or whatever the desired thickness of your scion. Then you can match that and make like a multi-graft also. If you have like 4 side shoots on a single mango tree, you can graft 4 different varieties. Like same plant can fruit 4 different varieties at a time.
You have anything like that now with you?
Now only this hibiscus I have. Most of them are gone. I've sold them.
if we are choosing a scion from the mango tree,
Okay.
like I have this idea to graft a mango plant.
Okay.
So the mango, which branch should I choose? Like usually the tender ones are
Not not from the older branches, definitely. Not the newest shoot, like shoots which you see like very pale green or like very delicate leaves. Those will be the new flush that you have to avoid because they have already utilized the hormone. Like the ideal branch of Scion would be like you see there will be some buds which are like about to push and not yet pushed. Just like this hibiscus which we spoke about. Like the buds on the mango also, if you see, they will be ready to push but not pushed. That is the best scion. Or if you don't have that and you have access of the mother plant or the scion where you are taking, what you can do is, if this is a mango branch, you have leaves, you strip off the leaves on the topper end or the bottom end side of the branches. Then within 3-4 days, the buds start swelling. Then you have to harvest. This is like artificial, forcing the plant to make buds for you. So once you do that, you can take it and graft. But again, if you're taking the branches from very lower end of the fruit tree, then the plant growth will also be like bushy kind of thing, not tall, because you're taking it from the lateral growth. So if you're taking it in the higher side of the tree, like top side of the tree branches, then it will grow straight. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it might not work. But in theory, this is observed in most of the cases. So it is better to take from the best possible disease-free branch.
Okay, thank you, Kiran.
Yeah.
Kiran, I have a question. So for these thin branched plants, like let's say the pepper, the bush pepper, and the ivy geraniums, would this air layering work?
Yeah, definitely. Bush pepper will work, but again, it takes around 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Generally, bush pepper is propagated through cuttings, but you need like misting kind of chamber, high humid chamber.
Oh.
Then it will be easy to root. But
Okay.
I have tried air layering. It is successful, but it takes time here in Bangalore. Yeah. But the geranium would be like ivy geraniums, air layer is best. They do very well.
Okay. And just one thing, you had said that after tying that the plastic, the grafting tape,
Correct.
did you seal it on the top and the bottom for air layering? You said you
Yeah.
put
Yes,
water
yes,
in?
yes.
What
Yeah,
do you do?
once you cover the, I mean, like if you have palm thickness of like grafting, I mean, plastic,
Hmm.
the wound is this much, and you
Yeah.
have covered this much of cocoa pit.
Yeah.
You are covering like this.
Yeah.
Like imagine this is plastic.
Yeah.
So you have to tie in the top and the bottom, otherwise it will come off.
Huh. So what do you use for tying the same?
I personally use this thing, zip tags.
Oh, okay, okay.
Or you can, because that is very easy, because
Yeah.
we have to maneuver in single hand, we are holding this and
Correct,
do that.
correct.
But you can, and generally most of the people use threads, cotton
Okay.
thread, plastic thread, whatever is
Okay.
available.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any particular season for this grafting procedure?
Ideal season would be in the monsoon, from mid-May to September, October.
Okay. Okay.
But all other months, since we are very lucky to be in Bangalore, you can experiment all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
When you spoke about micrografting, no? What age can we do the micrografting?
Like it completely depends on the skill and the technique we are using. Like very small, even like almost 6 months plants, like vegetables, of course, we have to use like 1 month plant or below that. Like fruit plants, even like matchstick thickness, I have grafted. That is like almost 3-4 months thickness, I mean age of plant. But micrografting is almost like delicate procedure. Like it is no, you cannot be 100% sure until and unless you see success. But it can also be like the most easiest procedure, because once we are using bigger stems and bigger scions, the cambium is very less, only in between the two layers. But in micrografting, we use smaller plants, I mean smaller rootstocks and smaller scion, where they have high amount of growth hormones. So the success and the growth will be more. But if we have some rare species and we don't have a lot of material to grow, then I do micrografting so that it can be propagated fast. If something I have like rampant, I mean it's available so much, then I don't mind doing the routine type of grafting.
One more question.
Yeah.
How do we water the
grafted
regularly and yes, no, the grafted part.
I mean, grafted part you have, I mean there is no need to water. You just water the rootstock. Like this is the grafted plant, here is the growth, so you need to water the rootstock just
It's
like
enough.
any other plant. If it is in small cover, you have to water it more. If it is in bigger container, then obviously you have to water it once in a day or twice a day, however frequent you find. But generally we keep it in semi sunlight, so that dehydration will be less. So generally once a day is more than enough. And if you have like
it doesn't
sorry?
require to that particular
that
portion.
No. Actually, it has to be free from, I mean, you have to keep it free from water. If you give water, if the water goes inside the wound, inside the plastic which we have covered, or if you have not tied it tight enough, then it will cause rotting. So you have to avoid the water seeping in. That is one thing. And removing the tape after the graft is healed is also a very essential part of grafting. Otherwise, it will kill the scion part.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one more thing is, once you see this, the graft has completely started growing and new shoots have come, the rootstock will also keep on pushing new branches everywhere. So what you have to do is, you have to remove the side shoots from rootstock. If you are not removing that, this will dry again, or it might die after some time. So the entire energy of this entire plant should be focused on this part of the branch. Initially, you might see more shoots on the bottom end of the rootstock. So you have to keep removing like once a week or 15 days once. But once this is taken like after 1 feet of growth, then the rootstock will not push any growth, because it will be like fed up of removing all side shoots.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then, I mean, any doubts in air layering?
Kiran, I want to know whether we can air layer Rudraksh tree.
Yeah, you have
Rudraksh tree,
Rudraksh
can I
tree?
air layer? Yes,
You
yes, I
will-
have 2 Rudraksh trees. I want to air layer them.
Okay, you can air layer them, but are they original Rudraksh? Because
Yes, yes.
okay, you have bell kind of flower, white flowers.
Yes, yes. I have
Oh.
plenty of, in fact, I got it from Uttarakhand. I got it from Rishikesh
okay.
Forest
Then
Research
definitely you
Institute.
can air layer it. Yeah.
And what about avocado? I have one avocado tree.
Avocado you cannot air layer. You can, but it will not grow. It will become very dwarf. Grafting is the easiest part of, avocado is one of the easiest fruits to graft.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
initially it will have fungal infection. Yeah, fungal issues when
any
they are
care
grafted.
I should take while the air laying Rudraksh? Anything special?
Nothing special. I mean, you have to select good and healthy branch. Like one thumb thickness is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it might take around 4 or 5 months to root.
Okay, same May to monsoon season I should start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is best.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Wonderful
welcome.
session.
Is it possible to grow avocado on the rooftop?
Definitely possible to grow, but not to expect fruits, not to expect anything. As an showstopper or as in like you have avocado on your roof, definitely you can grow. The plant looks beautiful and you get flowers. Fruiting would be very, very rare. Like, I mean, you get fruits, but the oil content will be less. If the oil content is less, it will taste bitter. It will not be good tasting fruit. So looking at all the efforts we put, it is better to grow any other fruit instead of avocado and on terrace garden.
So ornamental plant.
Yeah, you can think it is an ornamental plant.
Bad luck, bad luck.
What about grapes, Kiran?
Grapes
We are all
again,
eyeing grapes next.
especially in Bangalore, we can grow like very easy to grow is only one variety that is known as Bangalore Blue. That is the blue color grape which you get with seeds, which is very sour to taste.
Yeah.
That grows very easily, and even if it has all the diseases and virus, it will still fruit some fruit. I mean, it will still give some fruits. Rest of the other varieties like the white grape with seeds, that is the Tamil Nadu variety, and you have seedless varieties like Thompson seedless, Sonaka seedless, Red Globe. All these varieties will only grow in like Bijapur area, Nasik, Maharashtra, Pune area. Here you will not get fruits. Even if you get, hardly you get 2-3 fruits. That is not very much failure, or it's almost like waste plant. But again, it will be like you can use it like an ornamental, because 10 months it will be very beautiful and 2 months it will be dead. Dead looking. All the leaves will fall off and it will be bare, and then again spring you get new growth. Yeah, and that is the reason they use a lot of synthetic chemicals, fungicide, which we don't do in our terrace gardens. So the better to grow something which is easy to grow and which will fruit more. Like for example, apple, pear, lemons, citrus plants are very good. Like oranges, mosambi, they do very well in container garden.
In the fruiting plants, how long does it take to fruit when it is grafted?
It again depends on what species you are doing. Like citrus will fruit within 1 year. Mangoes and avocados, or jackfruit, they take 2-3 years. And it depends on the growth and fertilizer, everything. Basically, just like any other plant, or you can imagine if it is a tomato which is grown near a street or somewhere, random tomato, it will fruit within 6 months. If you're taking lot of care and container grown very well-fed tomato, it will fruit within 3-4 months. But fruit plants, basically, the initial healing and growth of the plant is important. And then the plant will decide when to fruit.
And how long will be the fruiting happen?
I mean, for example, citrus can fruit throughout the year in Bangalore.
No, the life of the plant. The
Life
fruiting.
of the plant. Okay, life of the plant, again, it is very specific to each and other species. Most of the grafted plants in commercial farms, or if you are planting it in ground, easily they can do well from 20 to 25 years, sometimes up to 50 years. In terrace garden, maximum we can expect is 10 to 15 years, because after that the plant becomes like too big and it fruits like once in a while. But this does not apply to all the species. Like for example, Eugenia species, like your Suriname cherry and other cherries which are from Eugenia species, they do very well once they get old, like after 2-3 years. Initially they are not that well fruiting. But some plants like citrus and apple bear and guavas, for example, guava will fruit only for 4-5 years very well, maximum 8 years. Then after that, the plant will become like retarded and old. You have to replace the plant. So it is better to plan accordingly. Like for example, even dragon fruit, if you since most of the people are growing it in terrace gardens, after 5 to 6 years, the production will fall. So you have to remove the plant, and you plan as like a successive crop 2-3 years ago, or like every 2 years you plant different stem of dragon fruit. So that plant will be your main plant after 2 years, if at all you are very interested into dragon fruit.
And anything about diseases of dragon fruit? Anything you can
I mean,
tell us
there is
about?
hardly few diseases, since it is a very hardy plant. There are hardly a few diseases, like some like wilting and rotting, like if you're overwatering, or there is some crooked branch where water is sitting for a long time, then that will definitely cause this thing, disease, or rotting.
Rotting.
And scales is like biggest pest on dragon. What it does is it will lay this thing egg and it will scar the tissue. But again, if you have very limited scales, like hardly 10-20, then it's not an issue. If you have lot of scales, then it will kill the plant slowly. Not initially, I mean suddenly, but slowly.
Over a period of time.
Yeah. And I mean, there is nothing else, but this thing, I mean, even fruits sometimes, like they catch aphids, that again can be washed off and taken care. Yeah. So air layering, I think any doubts in the procedure as such, like grafting or air layering? It's been almost a year, so I don't know how much I have told and if I have missed anything.
Kiran, can
Kiran,
you
I
show
have
us
a
anything
small doubt.
small layer, this thing you've done, micrografting?
Okay.
Tiniest one.
Just a moment. I will pause the video.
Let us see the fruit trees that we want to buy also.
Yes. So I have to.
Video.
Yes. Okay. So I have got 2 examples here of micrografting. So this is from the Garcinia species. So the rootstock is bakupari. It is a exotic rare fruit, but I mean it's related to kokum mangosteen family. Yeah. So this is a micrografting example. See, this rootstock is very thin, almost matchstick thickness. No. So there is again like lot of techniques involved in this. So this particular technique, what I have done is I have kept the rootstock leaves. So these leaves are essential in micrografting for this species at least. And if you see, I am removing this cover. The Scion is very small. It's almost 1 inch only. And if you see, new growth is coming. The light green
How old
color.
is it?
Sorry?
How old is it?
It's almost 2 months, 1.5, 2 months.
No, since you've grafted.
Yes. 1.5 month, maximum 1.5. Yeah. So this
What
is
about
the
the
new.
nutrition? Do
No,
you give extra
while
nutrition or the
grafting,
same thing?
no. While grafting, you should not give anything specific like sudden nutrition. You have to do like basic care, basic compost application on this thing. But if you do something special, then the plant will try to grow from sides, from the rootstock, since it's already old. So what we are doing is we are trying to heal the wound. It will deviate from healing and it will start focusing on side shoots. So in this case, what I have done is I have done micrograft. So this is hardly 1 inch Scion. This is the new growth now. So these leaves I have retained because what they do is, and I of course I had put this cover also. These leaves take sunlight and they provide nutrition for the graft to heal. Since the stem is very young, if the stem was as thick as this, the stem would have its own, nutrition, lot of energy, stored energy. So in this case, I have used these leaves as if they are like solar panels, which take energy and provide to the wound to be healed. So this is one example. This is of Pakupari. And then smaller than that, this is almost like ultra micrograph. So the smallest cover, rootstock is of pomelo seedling, chakota, also called as chakota. So it is hardly less than pencil thickness.
1/4 inch.
And not even. Yeah, the height of the rootstock from ground level, soil level is 1 inch. And the thickness of this thing, Scion, is also tiny. So if I open the cover, you see there is humidity inside, water content. No? That is very important. When you cover, you should not tie it like this. Otherwise, it will become too hot and the Scion will die. It has to be aerating, but at the same time, we keep this on the ground like this and the water evaporates and it catches inside this cover. It's like condensation, evaporation. It's a cycle. So the Scion will be healthy. Now I am opening this cover. You see there are new shoots, leaves. So this is a successful pomelo chakota graft. And this is a specific rare pomelo which is edible with skin. Generally, chakota, we discard the skin and it is terribly sour, sometimes bitter. But this is sweet. Even the raw skin is edible. Yeah. So after removing this cover, now the plant is ready. But this is not ready to transplant or keep it in full sun. You have to keep it in semi-sunlight, like filtered sunlight under a tall tree or tall plant where you get filtered light for at least 2-3 hours. Then after 15-20 days, these leaves will become tougher. You know, like how regular leaves are. Then you know the plant, you will be, knowing that the plant would be ready for transplantation. You can change the cover and remove the grafting tape.
Kiran, I have a doubt.
Yes.
I have 2 containers of lemon tree. Now that is 6 years old and it's come from the seed.
Okay.
So initially I didn't know about growing plants from seeds. So I just let it grow. Now I don't know if it's a wasted effort because I don't see any signs of flowering or anything happening except for growth.
It is healthy or it has any issues?
It's very healthy. A lot of foliage seen, but no flowering. So I don't know. It's 6 years old.
Since it's already 6 years, you have already waited. It would fruit within 1 or 2 years. Generally, seedling lemon might take from 5 to 15 years, depending on the care and everything, sometimes up to 15 years. What you can do is you have to stop watering for at least 1 week or 10 days.
But then it droops, no, in this
Yeah,
heat?
yeah, it has to. You have to threaten the plant as if you're killing it.
Okay.
So it's like shock treatment. You have to
Okay.
stop watering for 1 week, and
Hmm.
all the leaves will be dried. Then you flood the
Okay.
plant. I mean, you overwater it for another 2-3 days.
Okay.
Then new shoots will start coming out, and then you keep like the regular watering and other fertilizing, whatever you're feeding, keep the same cycle continued. And after like 2-3 months, within 1 to 2 months, you can expect some buds if this works. But since it is a seedling, there is no guarantee that it will work. If it works, very good, you will be happy. If not, wait for 3-4 months and again let the leaves become mature and very good looking plant. Then again repeat the same shock treatment. You have to
Okay. But
stop.
do I trim it? Do I trim the
You can trim it, but this itself is major shock. If you do trimming and this everything, sometimes plant might not handle and it might die. You have to do either trimming or the dry, this thing, dry shock method.
Generally, people say pruning should not be done, no, for lemon.
Yeah, basically, since it's very slow growing plant, we hardly have 10 branches to get enough fruits. So there is no need to prune. Yeah, but this shock treatment is fine. But if you have like very massive tree and you are unable to walk around, then of course you have to prune. But pruning as such is not that essential, at least in terrace gardens. Commercially, they have to prune, they will prune. Yeah.
Kiran, I have same kind of mango plant from seed.
Okay.
So it is around 6 to 7 years now. So it's healthy, good looking. But will it fruit? What should I do? Like for same treatment for that also?
Yeah, I mean, if it is a seedling, no, mango, you cannot do this dry treatment. Mango will die. Only citrus plants will reciprocate with this treatment.
What can be done for it?
I have disturbance, I think.
Yeah. Shubha, please mute it.
Okay, so for mango, you cannot do anything. The only thing you can do from your side is maybe use fertilizers which are more in phosphorus and potassium, like your cow dung, goat manure, sheep manure, horse manure. Not horse manure. A sheep and goat manure is rich in potassium and phosphorus. Or you can use rock phosphate powder also. That is again this thing similar to Epsom salt. But there is no like strict rule that it will work. But if you increase potassium and phosphorus content, there is a good chance that it will.
Okay, thank you. Shubha, mute.
I hope you don't mind. Please mute it. Whoever is on the line, please. If you don't want to speak, mute yours.
I think the host can also mute.
Yeah, I have muted.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, regarding my mango plant, and basically I can also say like top 10 fruiting plants which will do very good in terrace gardens. Like one is citrus varieties, all lemons, hirlekai, orange, chakota, all these things. Second would be eugenias, that is Suriname cherry, gurmichama, all these cherries which are like, and guava. Guava is also related to eugenia. That will be very good in containers. Strawberry guava, but again, strawberry guava has very big seeds. Some people will not like it, but it is tasty. And then you can have this thing, water apple plants, which are very high productive. Apple bear plants, they are really high, production, like they fruit throughout the year. And then mulberries, they also give very good yield. Mulberry, again, you have to strip off the leaves and you can prune whenever you want. Every time you strip off the leaf, most of the time you get fruits. Yes. So it is a very good trick plant. And then you can have this thing, rare fruits which are not available generally in Bangalore to buy, because anyhow we are putting so much of effort and growing something. If you are growing a sitapal or a basic pomegranate, then anyhow you're buying it in the market with so much of effort, there it's no point growing on terrace. So, and of course, pomegranate is again very hard to grow it on terrace. Ideally, you will not get good quality pomegranate. Either you will be compromised with its taste, it will be really sour, or the fruit starts splitting and you see like black spots on the pomegranate. Top three waste plants, according to me, on terrace, at least in fruits, are one is pomegranate, second would be grapes, and third one would be mango or avocado. Yeah, mango and avocado would be same. They will not perform. Yeah, they will not perform at their best. And jackfruit, there are a couple of varieties. Like one is called as Vietnam early, which literally will fruit very early. Some plants in Vietnam early, if it is grafted, within 1 year you can expect fruit. That you can grow. Apart from that, not many varieties will fruit in container. And there is one more variety from IAHR called as Sidhu Jack. That is the pink red flesh jack.
Yeah.
That is also very good for containers.
What about figs? Figs, falsa.
Figs, yeah, figs are very good for container. Yeah, figs.
Falsa.
Falsa, nah, you get hardly. I mean, they will fruit very well, but you get hardly some fruits. Yeah, you get like
3 times a year.
Fruits.
3 times a year.
Yes, but you can.
Falsa fan.
Yeah, you have like, I mean, the volume of fruit is less to the effort. Like for example, even in passion fruit is very high productive fruit. If you have a really good quality fruiting plant, then you can expect fruits for years, like 5 years also. But figs, there are like hardly, since in our country agriculture practices, most of the people stick on to monotonous crop. Like if they like one particular variety, they grow only that. They are not ready to experiment anything new. So similarly, in fig, you have hardly 2-3 varieties, which you get fresh fig outside, even in Malleshwaram area and other areas. That is known as Dinakar. The variety of that fig is Dinakar. The same fig you get fig plants in all the nurseries. That is also Dinakar, and that is used for fresh eating habits. So it will be sweet. There is one more variety. If you look harder, you can find that is called as Diana. D-I-A-N-A, Diana. So that is a yellow fig which ripens, which becomes yellow after ripening. That is high in sugar content, but you will never find it in the market because it has very low shelf life. So they make anjeer out of it. They use that variety to make anjeer. They dry it and it will be sweet. Only these two you get. But apart from that, if you see in Western countries or online, there are hundreds of varieties in fig, like Black Mission, Panache, Tiger fig. Like almost each fig will be 100 grams, some varieties. Yeah, but here we have only 2. Yeah.
Kiran, doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have this wild mango tree growing in my garden.
Okay.
Now, if I have to graft it, then what can be done? I mean, what scion or what can be used?
Rootstock, you have some XYZ variety which you have no idea. No, you have sowed some
No idea. Yeah.
So that you can treat it as unknown variety. So it will be an experiment. You can definitely have a successful graft, but the yield or the result cannot be anticipated. It will be either surprise or shock. So if it is very good yielding, then it will be surprise. If it is not yielding and it is dwarf and it is not fruiting, then it will be shock. So, and the variety which you can graft on that mother rootstock, it depends on your choice and availability. You like Alfonso, you can get Alfonso mango scion. If you like Totapuri, you can get that. Any mango is compatible with that rootstock. Whichever is available nearby, you can get the scion and you can graft. But specifically, since it is like a container grown plant, Mangoes have really tough time. I mean, there are people who are growing very good mangoes in containers, but it takes a lot of efforts. Yeah.
No, this is in my ground garden. So
Yeah,
should
you
I
can.
experiment it or?
I mean, it's up to you. If you want, if you have a lot of like interest in experimenting, you can definitely experiment, and it will be like a fun project. But don't keep
And
high
learning.
hopes. Yeah,
Okay.
you can experiment. It will be like if it is successful, then it will be one of a kind project.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
How about lychee trees? Are they good for containers or ground?
I mean, lychees specifically are good for containers and ground, but they are not good for Bangalore. I mean, you get hardly few fruits, but they don't grow well here. They need chill hours, at least to fruit well. The plant will grow. I mean, it will be green. Sometimes it has this a soil issue, like pH issue. So most of the time, if you have lychee plant, you will observe the leaves are dry on the outer part. That is because of alkaline soil. That is an issue with lychee here in Bangalore because of our this thing climate. But fruiting, you can't expect much out of it. But at the same time, something related to lychee is called as longan, which also looks similar to lychee, and it is from the same family, Sapondaceae family, which is related to your this thing soap nut. That fruits really well. Longan fruits even 3 times a year. There are like hundreds of varieties in longan. But lychee, I would not advise for Bangalore.
How about rose apple? They are good ones.
Rose apple, very good. I mean, they are one of the native varieties, no? I mean, there is no issues with that. They fruit really well.
Thank you so much.
That is both white and red.
No, I mean, rose apple. I mean, one more thing is there is a lot of confusion between what exactly
Water
is
apple.
rose.
Water apple.
There is water apple, love apple, rose apple, Java apple, Malay apple. All people have named based on their own imaginations, and different nurseries have come up with their own names. Basically, these are all Syzygium family fruits that is related to your jamun. So, like for example, water apple has high water content. So, all which has a water content is a water apple. But there are several colors: pink, red, yellow, white, even maroon color. So that is water apple. Some are very sweet, some are bland, sour. Most of the fruits which we get in nurseries are generally sour, because that is the basic variety. If you speak about rose apple, as the word says, it is of flavor. It is flavored with rose aroma. So if you go to wedding, they put this paneer water, no, which has the rose aroma. Yeah, the fruit will have something similar to that. Even if you eat the fruit, you are like eating rose petals. So that is and in that species there is only one color, that is yellow, which looks like lemon, and you have one hard seed in between that. That is also called as pannerle in Kannada. And other one is called as Malay apple, which is again a different variety of water apple. But the difference you can identify when it fruits is water apple, they hang in clusters. Malay apple always fruits on the stems attached to the stem. It is like cauliflower's fruiting habit, which means it is attached. Like I mean, or some fig, like you see elephant foot fig, which are like older, bigger trees where you see figs from bottom. Yeah. So something like that. Malay apple will always be attached to the stem. And there are like other apples like love apple, that is actually not available here in India, at least in certain part. Yeah, it's grown very well in Australia.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is about Syzygium, but this thing rose apple, again, one more thing, this like and kind of thing. Apple, they are wide oval leaves.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions?
Hi, Kiran. I have a small question.
So,
that is, if we plant any flower plant, after 2-3 days, that fungus kind of thing will appear. What is the reason and how can we avoid?
sorry, I'm unable to hear.
You can repeat the question. Repeat the question.
If you plant, there are some kind of flowering plants.
Hello, can you hear me?
When there will be a fungus kind of thing at a root after 2-3 days. Okay,
Hello,
maybe
hello.
the
I'm
network
unable to
problem.
hear.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, something happened. Hello, can you hear me?
No, it's due to network problem.
Yeah, Vignesh, you can repeat the question again.
I will chat here. I will chat.
Yeah, you can set it on chat. Yeah, yeah.
Network is clear now. You can try to talk.
Yeah.
If you plant some flowering plants, after 2-3 days, there will be a fungus kind of thing at a root and it get decayed. What is the reason and how can we avoid?
If you are doing overwatering or the potting mix is not good enough, maybe it is contaminated. Like for example, if you see the same thing happens with your fenugreek, methi seeds, most of the time they die after germinating. That is called as damping off. If the soil is contaminated with pathogen like fungus, which are not good for plants, so what you can do is organic solutions like trichoderma, pseudomonas that can be used in the potting mix, or you can sprinkle some cinnamon powder on the before the seeds germinate or before you transplant, and along with after transplant also you can sprinkle some pseudomonas or cinnamon powder. That will control to some extent, but you cannot have 100% fail-proof system. Some plants they cannot cope with the transplant shock also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any more questions?
Kiran, if for grafting this avocado, what should be the rooting plant? Same plant, can I take the seed and make the root stock?
Yes. Yeah, avocado you can do. Yes, you can do that. But only thing is you should have like good quality seed. I mean, if the plant is very healthy and robust growing,
okay,
and it is and it is a good quality fruit, taste wise, everything. Basically, how fast it is growing.
Okay,
and it is healthy.
And one more, I want to try it on the sundekai and brinjal.
Brinjal.
Any advice on that? Sundekai and brinjal.
That is one of the easiest vegetables to plant. Sundekai
can you show me if you have done
that?
Can you show me one plant?
Currently, I don't have an example plant, but you can imagine the same method. The same method which I had showed. Cleft Graft. It is you can follow same thing. Sundekai, of course, you have a lot of plants. So select a medium to small plant. Bigger plant is not that successful. So that, and you can also do multi-grafting on Sundekai. That means
that's what I wanted to ask you.
If you have 4 branches, 4 varieties of brinjal can be grafted. But if you graft, like for example, Bengan ka barta kind of brinjal on one side and smaller brinjals on other branches, then it will be like an imbalance. Once the plant starts fruiting, the branch will break off.
Okay, same.
Yeah, that has to be kept in.
Okay.
Size would be a good idea.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So,
any more questions? Ritu, I don't think so. There are any questions.
Yeah.
You were the one who wanted the grafting session.
Thank you so much, Kiran.
And
Yeah, very fair. I mean, you're welcome.
Hats off to you. We've been so thankful, you've agreed for the program.
Yeah.
And we've streamlined it live. And we hope everyone is a learning experience. We're so grateful to you to share it with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks, Kiran. Thanks a lot. All the best.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having this great session. It was good. And I hope someone does some experiment, at least one or two that would be successful.
Yes, thank you, Kiran.
Thank you, Kiran. All the best.
I'll keep you
Really
posted.
useful.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you, sir. Rajesh, sir.
Welcome, madam. Welcome, everybody. And thank you, Kiran. It was really enriching. Right today, after this meet, I want to go and try that sundekai and brinjal grafting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajesh, sir.
Thank you,
Noor.
Thanks a lot, Rajesh, sir.
Welcome, madam. My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
So I close the meet and stop the stream.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Noor ma'am. Thank you, Rajesh sir. Bye.